What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon back at you again with now your Week 3 predictions for the college football season. And we have something a little new. We're going to do this every single week now. And we are going to be talking about my top 25. And I made a nice little graphic here for you. So here is my top 25. So obviously there's some new faces in there. There's some faces that weren't in my top 25 last week. But I decided to make a visual, and I'm going to make this every single week. Auburn's new up in there. Missouri, with their big win against Kansas, has made it now into my top 25. USF now in it. Ole Miss did slide a little bit, but USF, big leapers after knocking off Florida. You'll see there's no Florida in there. Oklahoma with a big move up, and then I moved Florida State all the way into the top 10 as well. And some people slid because they didn't perform well. Like Clemson kind of struggled with Troy, so they're down a little bit. I think they'll bounce back. But this is my top 25 at the moment. But we got to get into our picks for this week. We do have picks on other days of the week this week, Thursday and Friday, and a little bit of Saturday as well. But yeah, here we go. We're going to start off on Thursday. NC State coming off their win, going up against Wake Forest. I got NC State winning that one 27-17. Then we get to Friday. We have Indiana State versus Indiana. Indiana, another big win, 56-10 in that one. Colgate versus Syracuse. Syracuse, by the skin of their chin, just barely made it through against UConn. 56. Or my bad, I'm looking at the Indiana game. 42-3 here against Colgate. Colorado versus Houston should be a good one. Should be a tight one. Both teams have been relatively solid so far. 24-21 in the favor of Colorado and Deion Sanders. Kansas State versus Arizona. Kansas State, man, they have not been good. They lost to Army. They're 1-2. This is a team I was very high on. Kansas State, they fall 31-24. Arizona wins that one. New Mexico versus UCLA. UCLA wins that one 35-24. Then we start off Saturday before we get into some of the weekly picks. We're going to get into, you know what, maybe we'll save all the feature ones until later. We're going to start it off with Oregon versus Northwestern, though. Oregon coming off a huge win against Oklahoma State. That one is going to be 49-3 in the favor of Oregon in Chicago. Buffalo versus Kent State. Kent State, I feel bad for them, but it's 27-10 in the favor of Buffalo. Memphis versus Troy. Troy was looking good against Clemson. They're not going to do the same thing against Memphis. Memphis will go in there, handle business 24-17. Central Michigan going up against Michigan. Michigan coming off a loss. They're now outside of my top 25, but they're going to win this one 27-3. Oklahoma versus Temple. Oklahoma will have a day on the offensive side, 45-17. Houston Christian going up against Nebraska. Nebraska is going to easily win that one, 45-6. Wisconsin versus Alabama. Sneaky upset spot here for Wisconsin. Alabama's still in my top 25, but I have Alabama winning 27-17. Towson versus Maryland. Maryland wins that one 35-7. And Maryland is one of my bubble teams that I'm watching out for because I rank my top 30. They're just on the outside of my top 30. So I'm keeping a close eye on that Maryland team for now. Next, we get William & Mary versus Virginia. We got Virginia winning that one 38-3. And you know what? Let's get into a feature game. Maybe. Wow. Of course, the hotkeys aren't working. But we're going to get into one of the feature games, and that's Clemson versus Georgia Tech. This one should be a fun one. Clemson, obviously, we saw them struggle with Troy. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, able to get the job done. Georgia Tech coming in this season with some high hopes. When you're looking at Georgia Tech, this is a team right now that's coming off of a big win against Gardner-Webb. They played Colorado and won in week 1. Clemson hasn't looked particularly great. But this is a team that we've been told from the get-go, like, hey, they're going to be a top 5 team. Do you trust the talent there with Clemson? Or is today and a little bit of what we saw last week against LSU, is that more of what this Clemson team is? I haven't been particularly impressed with Cade Klubnik just yet. Georgia Tech played this game without their starting QB, I believe. I didn't watch all of the games this week, but I believe they played without their starting QB. It's a tough one. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. It's a 9.5 spread in the favor of Clemson. I think Georgia Tech covers that. We're going to go Georgia Tech to lose. I'm going to go Clemson 35-31. I think this is a big game for Cade Klubnik. I think obviously Georgia Tech has shown against Colorado that their defense is susceptible. And I do think while Klubnik has not been particularly great, he is a level above what Caden Salter is, and I think this was going to be a higher scoring game here. I'm going to rock with Clemson to win this one on the road. It's going to be a tough environment. Georgia Tech fans are going to be out for this game, but I got to rock. I got to rock with Clemson. I just can't. I got to trust the talent at some point, right? I got to trust the talent here with Clemson. Next, we're going to get back into the quick picks. And we're going to go to Baylor hosting Samford. Baylor's going to win 49-3. Baylor coming off a big win against SMU as well. Big time game here for Baylor to dominate and maybe get into the top 25. I don't know. It's going to be tricky because they did lose to Auburn. But as you see, Auburn is in my top 25. So, I mean, there's a chance. There is a chance that this Baylor team can make it in. Speaking about Auburn, they're going to be hosting South Alabama. South Alabama, a formidable opponent. Nobody great, but I do think they'll be able to score. I got Auburn winning big, 45-21, but it's not going to be a pitch shutout or anything crazy there. New Hampshire versus Ball State. I feel sorry to say this for Ball State. I've got them losing to New Hampshire. I got New Hampshire winning that one 21-17. Ball State has not looked good. UConn versus Delaware. I think UConn handles business 28-10. Wazoo versus North Texas. I don't know if much defense will be played in this game, but Wazoo wins 34-31. SMU needs a bounce back week after their loss. They play Missouri State, and I think they're going to get it 49-10. Morgan State going up against Toledo. I got Toledo winning that one 38-7. USC versus Purdue, a little bit of Big Ten action. USC wins that one 38-17. I've been reluctant to move them into the top 25 because they haven't played anybody and they're just running up the score against teams. Purdue also doesn't really help that case just yet either. Oregon State versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech wins that one. Oregon State hasn't looked good. Texas Tech wins big 38-13. Northwestern State going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati should easily handle business, 42-3. Pittsburgh versus West Virginia. West Virginia coming off a loss. Pittsburgh wins that one, 24-20. Villanova versus Penn State. Penn State should handle business. Don't know what the lines are going to be when it comes out, but 35-6. Penn State hasn't really been covering spreads. Norfolk State going up against Rutgers. I got Rutgers winning big, 49-7. Richmond versus UNC. We got UNC handling business 38-7. Incarnate Word going up against UTSA. UTSA's had a rough draw to start the season, but they will be just fine. 31-17 for UTSA to get the job done. Now let's get into another pick here, and this is going to be the Georgia and Tennessee game. I think this is going to be one of the best games. College game day is going to be at this game, so it's going to be exciting. Aguilar, the quarterback of Tennessee, we've seen him start to look really, really good, but then again, you haven't really played a team like Georgia just yet. You haven't played that defense. They did really good this week against a team that had no business playing against them, right? Like Eastern Tennessee State, I believe it is, or something like that. not necessarily gonna put up a great fight against Tennessee. Tennessee, though, you got to come in. It's gonna be a home game. You're gonna have the crowd on your side. Georgia's walking into your stadium, 7-point favorites. At the time of this, it's probably going to cut down. I assume the line will probably be around 5.5, something like that. I don't know. But at the time of it's still I think the Hawaii game's still going on at the time of this. But this is going to be a really good game. This game is going to be really good. I don't view this Georgia team's offense in the highest respect. But if we go back here, right, you see I'm very high on the Georgia team still. I think the Georgia offense is an offense that, for the most part, can handle business and get things done. I don't think they're going to go out and put up 40 on Tennessee. And when you go back here, right, Tennessee's 18th, Georgia's 4th. This is a big top 25 matchup. It's definitely deserving of game day. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at Tennessee. Their defense has been really, 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 really talented the last couple games, right? They look like they belong. They did good this week. Syracuse, they handle business. They're able to put up points. I don't know, though. I don't know if you're going to be able to put up points just as easily. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game here, Georgia versus Tennessee. I mean, the scoreline isn't a low scoring scoreline. I have it being 27-24 in the favor of Georgia. But it is a scoreline nonetheless that Tennessee hasn't played in recently, right? I think they won by like 14 in that game against Syracuse. About, I don't know, I think it was like 36 to 22 or something like that. I don't know. But there was about like 55, 60 points somewhere in that score, and obviously this one really, really high scoring. I think this one is going to be right around 50, maybe a little under it in terms of the total points scored. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be a game that one decision might make or break either team. One Gunnar Stockton interception, one Aguilar interception, one fumble here, one fumble there, one missed call here, one missed call there, one bad decision going for it on fourth down. It's going to be one of those kind of slugfests. It's going to be that game, definitely deserving of game day that it's getting. But ultimately, I do got to rock with Georgia to win 27-24. We're going to lean in their direction. Let's get back to the quick picks. We have 3 more featured games, so we'll kind of try to space them out a little bit. But we got Youngstown State going up against Michigan State. Michigan State coming off of a very interesting victory against Boston College. 38-10, Michigan State wins. Louisiana going up against Missouri. Man, I like this Missouri team. Pribula, the QB there at Missouri, has been really, really talented the last couple games. Missouri wins 49-6. Iowa State versus Arkansas State. Iowa State go prove it 31-14 against a decent Arkansas State. UTEP versus Texas. Texas wins big 45-10. And there might be some panic going on because Arch Manning wasn't great right out the bat, and there was some panic going on early. But that's for another conversation. Liberty versus Bowling Green. Liberty coming off a loss against Jacksonville State, I believe. Bowling Green, not the best opponent, but I do think they'll keep it close. Liberty 24-21. Middle Tennessee going up against Nevada. 2 really not so great teams. Middle Tennessee wins 24-14. Monmouth versus Charlotte. Charlotte wins that one 28-10. Eastern Kentucky going up against Marshall. Marshall just lost to Missouri State, but Marshall wins this one 28-21. FAU versus FIU 24-21 in the favor of the FAU Owls. And we're gonna take this break to go over here and let's talk about actually, let me go back and remind you where USF ranks on my board. They are number 19. Miami's number 6. This is yet again another big matchup. It's really exciting. It really is. I think this is going to be one of the better games of the week. I think this could be the shocker of the week. I don't think USF is going to necessarily lose this game and let Miami just walk away with a 15 to 20 point win, right? I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be gritty. I think USF does a really good job of wearing teams down. I think USF's defense is going to keep them in the game long enough. They're going to do just enough to keep them in it. Byron Brown is going to do what he needs to do to keep them in it. And you're going to have a puncher's chance going into the fourth quarter. It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight in this game. But I do have Miami winning 24-20. I think it's going to be one of those funky score lines. Miami's going to be lucky to escape. Might be a late touchdown drive from Carson Beck and company. But USF is going to give Miami a scare. I would not be shocked if USF wins this game. There's some, like I said, there's some upset picks that I've been kind of just throwing out to you, right? This is one of them. Wisconsin versus Alabama is another, but this is one of them that I legitimately think USF has a chance. It might not be a great chance, but they have a puncher's chance. If they can keep it close going into the fourth quarter. As you see, the picture on the left right now is the kicker that hit the game winner against Florida. Florida was thought to be a top 20 team, and they went in there and gave up, I think it was like 15 or 16 points to Florida. This USF team will stick in there. They'll fight. They'll make it a game. I don't know if they'll pull it out, though. I got to rock with Miami. What I've seen out of Miami's good. Miami looked really good week 1. They followed it up week 2 against Bethune-Cookman. I can't pick USF, but don't be shocked. Do not be shocked if the USF, what are they called? I don't even know what they're called. But don't be shocked if they pull it off. Do not be shocked if USF pulls it off. Let's get back into the quick picks now. Now that we're done praising USF, we got Merrimack going up against Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, another victory, gets a 21-13 win over Merrimack. Alcorn State going up against Mississippi State. Shout out Mississippi State knocking off Arizona State. You might have been wondering where Arizona State was in that top 25. Mississippi State handled business. Stood on business. They didn't really do anything in the second half other than throw the game-winning touchdown. But Middle Tennessee wins this one. Or my bad, not Middle Tennessee. Wow, Mississippi State wins this one big, 42-7. Western Michigan going up against Illinois. I had the exact same scoreline. Illinois winning 42-7. Should be easy there. Big win over Duke. Ohio versus Ohio State. It's going to be one of those games that in the first quarter, Ohio might punch it. But Ohio State is just too much to handle. I got it being a 38-14 victory for Ohio State. But don't be surprised if Ohio punches early. Appalachian State going up against Southern Mississippi. I think it's going to be close. 24-21 in the favor of App State. Murray State going up against Georgia State. Georgia State wins that one 28-17. Old Dominion going up against Virginia Tech. Old Dominion going to give you a decent fight, but Virginia Tech wins 31-17. Prairie View A&M versus Rice. Rice win that one 24-17. Jacksonville State going up against Georgia Southern. I got Jacksonville State edging it out at 35-31. New Mexico State going up against Louisiana Tech. We got LA Tech winning 21-14. Eastern Carolina going up against Coastal Carolina. We are going with a 28-17 victory for the good guys over in Eastern Carolina. Now let's get to another feature game. This one is A&M going up against Notre Dame. I think it's going to be a really, not talented game, but a really good game here between these two. A&M, I want to see what they look like on a real test. A&M is obviously one of those teams that every year gets a lot of hype, and you kind of wait. You kind of got to wait for the right matchup to see it. UTSA, they handle business. Utah State, they handle business. Notre Dame is a level above both of those teams right now. Notre Dame obviously had that week 1 loss, and another loss could really set them back and really kind of hurt their playoff chances, especially when you look at the rest of their season. You're going to be a 2-loss team with no conference championship because you're not in a conference. You can't get behind the 8 ball too much if you're Notre Dame just yet. But it's 6.5-point favorites the A&M way. It's at Notre Dame. I have a score written down here. I'm going to change it. Last second, I'm changing it. I was going to go in the favor of A&M. But it's a home game for Notre Dame. A lot is on the line if you really think about it. Playoffs might be in jeopardy if you lose this game. I'm going with Notre Dame in a close one. It was always going to be close. I just switched the scores around. I was going to have A&M win, but I'm flipping on in the moment. I'm going with Notre Dame to win. 24-21 in the favor of Notre Dame. Give me CJ Carr. Give me CJ Carr to get business done. Now we are going to wrap up the rest of the quick picks and then head on over to our last feature game of the week. Let's get into it, though. Eastern Michigan going up against Kentucky. Eastern Michigan, man, they cannot score. Kentucky wins that one 27-6. UMass going up against Iowa. 2 teams that probably won't score very much. 24-6 in the favor of Iowa. Navy versus Tulsa. Navy should win that one 27-13. Abilene Christian going up against TCU. Big game for TCU. 42-3. Duke versus Tulane. I believe Mensa, the quarterback of Duke, transferred from Tulane, so this is kind of a revenge game for him. Duke wins that one 31-28. Utah versus Wyoming. I'm high on this Utah team, man. I am high on this Utah team, and I'm going to rock with them to beat Wyoming 49-3. Akron versus UAB. I have Akron getting their first points of the season in a loss. UAB wins 28-3. Air Force going up against Utah State. Utah State should handle business 35-21. Southern University going up against Fresno State. Fresno State coming off a win against Oregon State 38-6 in the favor of Fresno. Minnesota versus Cal should be a tight one. California and JKS. I don't want to pronounce his name because I'll butcher it, but the QB over there, the freshman QB, really talented. He and Cal are going to win 28-21. Boston College versus Stanford. I got Boston College putting up 38, and if there's any point this season that Stanford puts up 38, I would be shocked. That offense is really, really not that good. But 17 points for Stanford. Texas State going up against Arizona State. I told you there's a couple upset ones. I told you that the USF upset could happen. I told you that Wisconsin upset could happen. Don't be shocked. Another one not to be shocked about. I think it's less likely, but Texas State could pull it off against Arizona State. If it wasn't for this week's Mississippi State loss for Arizona State, I might be telling you, like, they are on some serious upset alert. I think Texas State is a talented team. I think they are one of the better teams that aren't Power 4. Texas State, though, you're running into Arizona State coming off a loss in that Mississippi State game, and obviously Arizona State feels like they probably let that one get away from them, right? They gave up a late game touchdown. I just don't see Arizona State and Dillingham really not having a big response to that, and that's why we're going to go with Arizona State 38-17, but don't be surprised if Texas State finds a way to stay in it. I think Texas State's a talented team. I think they could hang around, but I just think there's going to be a big answer from kind of their letdowns from this week, and they're going to take it into next week against Texas State. So, sucks that's when you played them. Texas State. If you played them this week, you might have had a chance. Portland State versus Hawaii. Hawaii wins that one 49-6. Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. We don't have times on the next two games, but we're going to wrap them up with those. Vanderbilt versus South Carolina. They're now on my bubble list. Vanderbilt is. Vanderbilt not going to win this one, though. 35-24. Give me South Carolina to win. And then we got Arkansas versus Ole Miss. Should be a tight one. I'm going to go Ole Miss to pull it out 31-27. Don't be shocked if there's an upset there in that game. And then that leaves us the last game of the video. We got DJ Lagway in Florida who got upset. They lost to USF, but they have a huge chance to answer right back, right? You look at my top 25, you don't see a Florida. But if you look at number 7, you do see an LSU. I wasn't super high on Florida. I don't remember where I had them last week. Let me actually check where I had them last week, because I do keep that. Last week I had Florida at 20. They fell out. They fell out. You have a chance, though. You have a chance. You ain't going to jump USF in my rankings. You ain't going to do it unless USF starts to fall off a little. You ain't going to jump USF. But you got a chance to pop back into the top 25. You play LSU, who's a really, really talented team. I've talked really highly on Nussmeier. I think he is one of the best, if not the best, QBs in the entire country. I think really, really talented player. Let's get back over there, though. Florida, though, has a puncher's chance. They have a chance. 6.5-point favorites for LSU. I think it's going to be tight. But I am going to go with LSU simply because they're playing at Louisiana State Stadium. They're playing at LSU. If this was a game played in Florida, I might have went with Florida. I might have done it. But 27-21, I got to rock with LSU to win it. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be one of the better games of the week. So, there you have it. Those are my week 3 predictions. I will not be able to do this video on Saturday. Recorded. You'll see it Sunday morning. But I won't be able to do it like that. I'll probably have to film it on Monday. So, it might be a day or two late. Because I will be flying. I will be traveling next week, so I will not be able to film the video, but I will try to. I mean, obviously, this video will be out on Sunday for the lead up to that week. The NFL video will be out on Tuesday. We also got the soccer content popping back up now that we are away from international break. So, we got a few videos coming on out in this next week. But anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know down below what your top 25 is. Just a reminder, this is my top 25. I'm really high on BYU. I know some people aren't. I'm in a group, and BYU did not make it. We're doing a combined top 25. BYU is not in everybody's top 25, right? But I like this BYU team. I think they're good. Washington has 70 points on UC Davis at the moment. Arizona, 41. Hawaii's up 14 against Sam Houston. Either way, though, let me know down below. Who's the biggest surprise so far? Who is in your top 25? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.